Welcome to another great edition of Money Matters Boston TV. And yes, we're going to devote our entire show today to what? Social Security. That's right. It's going to be a great program. We have Keith Ellis and Matthew Peck from SHP Financial. We're going to talk about this great guide that we're giving away, as well as how to maximize your Social Security payments to get the most out of those dollars as humanly possible. But first, let's get right down to business. Joining me is the Regional Communications Director of Social Security, Steve Richardson. Thanks for coming out tonight. I got a lot of questions for you. You ready?
I'm ready. Thanks very much for having me.
Oh, you're welcome. Well, I know when it comes to Social Security, there are always a million questions, and we've had you on our radio show before, and what I loved is the initiative Social Security is taking to get people on the web. Can you tell our viewers right now where they can find at least how to get onto Social Security on the internet first?
Yeah, I'll start with it. I'll just say socialsecurity.gov, www.socialsecurity.gov. I think when you think and look at the internet, you know, we're a large organization.
Yeah.
And we need to move, you know, people towards doing things that they can do themselves on the internet, so we in the local Social Security offices can do the things that they can't.
Yeah.
So it would behoove anybody when they get into the educational process to familiarize themselves with socialsecurity.gov.
Now you're out and about. You probably, go out to a cocktail party or see somebody at a picnic or a family event. What's the most common question that people come up to you and ask all the time?
Well, obviously it's the solvency question. Is it going to be there for me? The elderly folk, or the folks who are already drawing or very close to drawing, they're more technical in nature, the questions. Can I work?
Yeah.
And collect. What about my wife? What happens 25 years from now when I pass away? Does my wife assume my benefit? What filing options do I have? Things like that.
And when it comes to answering them, how do you make a prediction in the future? Really, I guess everybody is wondering, is Social Security going to be around? Look, I'm 40 years old. I know I look 30, but I'm 40, believe it or not. What is Social Security going to look like for me when I'm 60, 65? Am I going to be taking it at 75? Or, what's your prediction?
Yeah, this is really the question. It's inappropriate for agency spokespersons to come out and speak about the future, because at the end of the day, Congress decides.
Yeah.
These are statutory regulations that we have. What I would argue, however, is that individuals should take a history lesson for themselves. Mm-hmm. And specifically go back to the 1983 Social Security Reform Act, where you saw this combination of an increase in FICA tax collection and a decrease in benefits being paid out. So a balanced approach was taken. But I would argue that individuals, if they want to get into the nitty-gritty on what type of moves can be made going forward to solidify the trust funds, I would start there and take a history lesson for yourself.
Well, it's ironic you say the 1983 Reform Act, because I was just reading that on a plane just for fun. It was my summer. No, I'm kidding. I'm joking. I just wonder how a lot of people just expect it to get a check on a certain day, and they put it towards their bills. A lot of people don't even, probably don't know the first bit of information when it comes to Social Security, as they would about Medicare, or as they would about any other sort of government program. And I'm careful not to call it an entitlement, because it's not an entitlement, right?
It's a government program. It's a retirement program.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
And so when people are looking for educational pieces, they're looking to learn, the website a good place to go, right?
The website is the absolute starting point for all.
Okay.
At socialsecurity.gov, the first thing you want to do, about 2 months ago, we launched a campaign called My Social Security.
Okay.
So essentially what now, we no longer distribute via surface mail the Social Security statement to folks. So they've got to get online and pull down their Social Security statement. So that's the starting point.
Yep.
So you get on the My Social Security link off of socialsecurity.gov, and you establish yourself with qualifying information and individual information. You'll be submitted a PIN and a password, and you'll be able to pull down and look at your Social Security statement. That's where you start.
And I know Social Security is very clear on trying to make people understand that it should not be your sole source of income, as it wasn't designed to be your full pension when you retired. How far do they go in trying to encourage people to have other bits of savings? Because you're not financial advisors, you're not somebody there that's supposed to be like a nagging mother or wife or whatever telling you that you need to put more money aside. But how far does Social Security go in telling people, look, you got to have other plans other than just Social Security?
Yeah, this is really the crux of the whole discussion. It's all about financial literacy.
Yeah.
And when does an individual, if you were asked somebody at the Social Security Administration, you should start thinking about it in your 20s and 30s.
Yeah.
And that's when getting on your statement and finding out what contributions you've made and what type of future benefits you're going to have. That's a great question. It's all about education. Now, you know in your industry that you want people to start early, but not all people can.
Yeah.
Know that Social Security is the solid benefit for life, that it's with you. It converts from job to job to job, no matter where you are in the country. It's always going to be a benefit there for you. But we want to get into people's heads and tell them that how important it is to educate themselves about all the moving parts of the program, like survivor benefits, like working while retired, like when does Medicare begin?
Yeah.
And start on the website and doing it, but educate yourself. It's just as important as any other, financial planning educational tool that you would use. Incorporate Social Security into that learning process.
Well, we have Steve Richardson, the Regional Communications Director from Social Security. Why don't we do this? We'll take a break. We'll come back. I want to ask you some commonly asked questions that I get about Social Security, and maybe we'll put you in the hot seat. We'll grill you a little bit and see how you can do. We'll take a break. We'll be right back with more in just a minute.
Are your investments in CDs and money markets returning less than you expected? There is a better way. Get a structured settlement transfer from SHP Financial and start earning better rates right away. Learn more by calling SHP Financial at 508-591-5070, and we will send you a free buyer's guide on this exclusive opportunity. Call now and you will be added to our email newsletter, where actual cases on the market currently are sent to you instantly. SHP Financial, 508-591-5070.
Peace of mind. Everyone wants it. Few people find it in today's uncertain economic times. Ross Mortgage understands that finding the right mortgage can be stressful. That's why we created programs like Custom Closing to save you time and give you the peace of mind so you can concentrate on the things that matter the most to you and your family. We'll walk you through every step to assure satisfaction. You can be confident that we'll close your loan on time, every time, guaranteed.
Ross Mortgage. Allow us to show you the way home.
This segment of Money Matters Boston is brought to you by SHP Financial.
All right, we're back, and we're here at TK O'Malley's in Scituate, Massachusetts. We're having a good time, and the conversation continues with Steve Richardson, Regional Communications Director for Social Security, Social Security Administration. And we had everybody somehow is involved in Social Security one way or the other. Maybe they're not getting it exactly because they participated in a program outside, but their spouse is. Everybody is somehow connected. They have questions. And so if you don't mind, I'm going to ask a couple of the questions that I receive. And the first one comes from Dave, and he's down in Dartmouth, Massachusetts, and asks about, can he be working and collecting Social Security at the same time? I think that's a good question because, people aren't just staying home and knitting when they're 65 years old.
It's a great question. It really is. And to open to what you had said, you're absolutely right. I mean, to the average American, Social Security represents about 41% of their pre-retirement income. So there's that's a large portion of one's retirement portfolio. So the average wage earner, Social Security is going to represent a good chunk of their 41%, in fact, of their retirement portfolio. As far as working, one of the most common questions. Can I work and collect at the same time? Well, we know you can't draw until you're at least age 62. That's an easy one. And we also know that if you draw prior to your full retirement age, which for most people now is 66, if you draw prior to 66, you're electing benefits at a reduced rate. But what comes along with drawing prior to your full retirement age at any time between 62 and 66 is a work restriction law that says, I would like to work and collect benefits at the same time. We restrict you enormously as to how much you can make. In fact, you can only earn this year $15,120 a year and be eligible for a payment every month if you're between the age of 62 through the year you turn 66. So that's part of that's part of planning in and of itself. If somebody walks into an office and wants to file for retirement benefits, the first thing we're going to ask them, if they're 63 years old, how much do you make? And we will pay them based on, or give them an answer based on what they are making. If somebody comes in and says, I'm making 150 grand a year, we'll say, well, you can't file. You can file, but you're technically not eligible for payment. So you have, in a sense, made the decision yourself.
Oh, that's a good one. And this comes from Maxine in Taunton. She had a question about the COLA, and it's a long-winded question. I basically know what she's trying to ask. How do they calculate the cost of living adjustments on a Social Security payment? I think people stopped getting an increase in the last couple of years because maybe they were having a deduction taken out from Medicare and their Part D, because that comes out of your Social Security check if elected, right?
Yep.
And then they didn't get a cost of living increase because of deflation. How does that all calculate out?
Yeah, this is a common question, and people really want to know because what the COLA is, the cost of living increase. It's a protection to the benefit.
Yep.
It's a guarantee that your benefit, not a guarantee, but it's a benefit that's going to increase in commensurate with the economy every January 1st.
Right.
So it's a protection. It's a built-in protection for Social Security recipients. It's based on the Consumer Price Index of durable goods and the wages of urban workers. So the CPI index is carried, and this can be followed as public information. You can track this throughout the year, and it's tracked up until the last week of the third quarter of the previous year, so you can kind of get a gauge mathematically on what your cost of living increase is going to be on the following January 1st. Interesting you say there were a couple of years there, yeah, we did not get cost of living increases.
Yep.
And mathematically, without taking too much time, essentially if the index doesn't rise above a certain number relative to the previous year's index rise, you won't see a cost of living increase. And that was the first time that we hadn't seen cost of living increases. This past January into 2013, we saw a cost of living increase.
Well, if Mayor Bloomberg has its way, you're not going to see any COLAs. What are they banning them this big or this big? So that's not related to the COLA of yours?
Not yet.
Okay, so we know that's for sure. And then I guess the final question just comes. It's just general about when is the right time to file, and I think we know the answer. It's really based on a lot of factors.
Correct. Yeah, I think, again, and it all falls back on our constant theme of education.
Yeah.
And to know point number one, that for every month prior to your full retirement age, you're electing to draw your benefits. You're electing benefits at a reduced rate. And guess what? That reduction is permanent. You're locking yourself into that amount.
Yep.
Individuals have an option of waiting to their full retirement age to draw what? An unreduced benefit. But there's another element that people need to be aware of, and that is by delaying your benefits beyond your full retirement age. For every year beyond your full retirement age that you elect to delay collection,
Yep.
you're getting what are called delayed retirement credits, which can increase your benefit by about 8% per year. So for every month prior to your full retirement age, you're locking in at a reduced rate. For every month beyond your full retirement age that you elect to delay, you're locking in at an increased rate.
Well, Steve Richardson is the Regional Communications Director for Social Security. When we come back, we'll be joined by financial expert Matthew Peck from SHP Financial. Hang with us. Money Matters Boston. We'll be right back in just a minute.
Remember when life was simpler? When things didn't move quite so fast and the world didn't seem so complex? When people still greeted you with a smile, knew you by name, and a handshake was a person's bond? Remember that? We do. And as the world around us has continued to speed up, becoming more complicated, more and more uncertain, we have managed to keep things simple, providing sound, easy to understand financial strategies and proven solutions for the road ahead. From tax reduction strategies, estate planning solutions, and guaranteed retirement income you cannot outlive, we're your single point of contact, a single call, a voice you recognize well, and a partner who will be by your side for the entire journey. We can't stop the world around us, but we can help ensure you're prepared for what's to come. That's what we do, and we do it well.
This segment of Money Matters Boston is brought to you by Ross Mortgage Company.
Welcome back. We're having a great time downtown Scituate, right on the waterfront here, and we're at TK O'Malley's, and we're having a great time. And what better to continue the good time than to be joined by Matthew Peck from SHP Financial. As far as All-Stars, because we see all the All-Stars in the back here, if there was a financial bar, your picture would be up there, I think. Matthew Peck.
Thank you very much. I'm trying for the Hall of Fame. We'll see if I get voted in, but that's the goal at least.
All right. Well, I'll cast my ballot. No performance-enhancing drugs.
No,
in your
absolutely
system?
not.
Well, it's okay.
All natural.
In the financial world, you can take ginkgo biloba to make your mind. Is that a PED in the financial world?
As long as coffee is allowed, I should be okay.
All right. Well, behind us, obviously, we have all these folks here who are retired. You go look and you think, man, how quickly time goes by. You know, these memories not too back in the rearview mirror, and here they are. Time goes by in a blink. We're talking about Social Security here, and I think the important thing for our viewers to gather from this show today is that those decisions, they might be a few years off, but it's going to come pretty quick, and you got to be prepared, right?
Oh, absolutely. In truly understanding all of the different consequences and ramifications of that decision, you have to start to begin to grasp it. You're not going to get it overnight, so you really have to start that process sooner rather than later.
Well, we talked to Steve Richardson, and he informed us, and we had him on our radio show
Yes.
on WBZ, and we mentioned just how important it is for people to become educated. And we have a piece, an educational piece here put out by SHP Financial, and it's the Social Security Decisions booklet, and it really is a helpful guide for people to become more astute in the decisions that go on, because he said it himself. Social Security, the staff there, the people that are working the phones, they're not financial advisors. They're not there to sort of give you 5-10 year goal projections.
Yeah.
They're just there to answer questions.
Yes, exactly. And I think specifically in the booklet, but two big questions that we always ask is when to take it, and that's really prominent there, but also how it's going to affect the spouse.
Yeah.
I think the spousal benefits, that part is obviously crucial for anyone that is married, because there are so many different options there, and then the option that you do eventually select, the impact that it has on the spouse is key.
Yeah.
So those two components are in that booklet, and I think starting that conversation at those two spots, how it's going to affect my spouse, and when should I begin, that begins that conversation.
Well, the booklet here, it's pretty meaty. It covers a lot. There's a lot of tables in here. It is a real helpful guide, I think, for anybody who is wondering what to do about Social Security, but maybe you have a parent that's going to be relying on you for help in the decision-making process. There's a lot that goes into it. It's not as easy as just picking, say, I'm turning 62, it's time to collect. So let's, for those of you at home, you want to get this in your hands. Fortunately, we have this for free. So you just call up 508-591-5070, 508-591-5070, and people can get this. And Matt, I know once decisions are made with Social Security, once you make them, they're kind of there for the rest of your life. So if you make the wrong one, it could cost you a lot of money.
Oh, and it's interesting too. One of the more recent changes that Steve informed us is the fact that they used to have some payback provisions where you could sort of renege and go back on a decision and just pay back Social Security. They've actually phased that out. So truly, the decisions that you are making are relatively final. Now there are certain windows and certain look-back periods that you can still take advantage of, but primarily it is a final decision. And so that's why deciding when you take it and how it'll affect your spouse. Those two things, once you can really understand those, you can learn from there and build on that foundation.
Let me ask you to issue a letter grade to the financial community or industry out there on their knowledge or background when it comes to Social Security. Do you think most financial planners are cognizant of the decisions, or do they incorporate keeping themselves educated in regards to Social Security? Letter grade, B, C, D, what do you think?
I'd say B- at best, because I really think people will sometimes they'll sort of defer. They'll just say, you know what, talk to Social Security about it, and they'll expect the individual to ask all the pertinent questions rather than helping the individual ask the pertinent questions, or helping to take that individual and walk them down all the different paths. So truly, I think it's sort of a lower grade, because they put too much of the onus on the consumer rather than on the advisor to advise them, rather than just send them on their way and say, gather that information and come back.
All right, well, the Social Security discussion is going to continue on here. I'm at TK O'Malley's. I'm stumbling, but I'm completely fine. I'm completely fine for all of you at home. It's tough to get through my words. I smell the appetizers and everything. So we have this free booklet that's available. It's the Social Security Decisions booklet, 508-591-5070. And why don't we do this? We'll take a break and we'll bring Keith Ellis on, one of your partners, and we can talk about how to take advantage or maximize the benefits. And you up for it? What do you think?
I can't wait.
All right, we'll take a break. We'll be right back with more from TK O'Malley's in Scituate, Massachusetts in just a minute.
As you approach retirement, it's important to determine the amount of income you can receive from Social Security. I'm Derek Gregoire with SHP Financial. This informational booklet presents the facts about Social Security distribution options to help you determine when and how to begin taking distributions so you can receive more income over the course of your retirement. To receive your free Social Security Decisions informational booklet, please call me at 508-591-5070 or visit me at www.shpfinancial.com. Again, 508-591-5070, or visit the web at www.shpfinancial.com. Get the most out of your Social Security benefits. Call now.
Peace of mind. Everyone wants it. Few people find it in today's uncertain economic times. Ross Mortgage understands that finding the right mortgage can be stressful. That's why we created programs like Custom Closing to save you time and give you the peace of mind so you can concentrate on the things that matter the most to you and your family. We'll walk you through every step to assure satisfaction. You can be confident that we'll close your loan on time, every time, guaranteed.
Ross Mortgage. Allow us to show you the way home.
Remember when life was simpler? When things didn't move quite so fast and the world didn't seem so complex? When people still greeted you with a smile, knew you by name, and a handshake was a person's bond? Remember that? We do. And as the world around us has continued to speed up, becoming more complicated, more and more uncertain, we have managed to keep things simple, providing sound, easy-to-understand financial strategies and proven solutions for the road ahead. From tax reduction strategies, estate planning solutions, and guaranteed retirement income you cannot outlive, we're your single point of contact, a single call, a voice you recognize well, and a partner who will be by your side for the entire journey. We can't stop the world around us, but we can help ensure you're prepared for what's to come. That's what we do, and we do it well.
Welcome back from TK O'Malley's, and we're going to continue the discussion about Social Security with our little panel of sorts. Matthew Peck and Keith Ellis from SHP Financial join us. Let me ask you straight up, how do you get the most out of that Social Security check? I thought it was you just get it and that's it.
There's a number of different factors. I mean, it's all about age, it's all about certainly how much you have put into the program at that point in time. But finding out the impact on spouses, I'd like to say too, has a very big consequence as well of your decision.
And Keith, I know you guys spend a lot of time on income planning, so having that, let's say for instance your check by making one decision is $250 less or more based on one way, and then it could be $250 more or less the other way. I mean, that adds up over time. It could be hundreds of thousands of dollars.
I just don't think people realize there's so many different ways to take Social Security.
Yeah.
So, you know, we have a software that will show people how to maximize Social Security. It's definitely an intricate thing.
So when people enter that stuff into the software, then it's software to me obviously makes me think that it's too confusing to write on a piece of paper. So that's what it does, right? It's going to calculate sort of all the options and spit out the best result at the end.
Well, and Chuck, you mentioned earlier about the difference over the years. I mean, you take that difference, you times it by 12, then you can times it by 20 years of retirement. We recently ran a quote for a client of ours, and the difference was close to $80,000.
Wow.
And that was over a short period of time, like only about 15 years. So when you take a look at that, software, I mean, we're talking hundreds of thousands of dollars difference that people can do if they take that extra step to explore and to find out what's the difference of taking it at 66 versus 68 versus waiting all the way until 70.
And Keith, $80,000, that's like a vacation home.
Oh yeah.
So if you're retired, I would think you'd want that money.
It's a big benefit, and there's so many different ways and when to trigger. You know what I mean? Like Matt was talking about spousal. When does a spouse trigger? Can the spouse take half of the other spouse? It's just so many different variables. There's thousands of different ways to take Social Security, and what this does is basically summarizes it for you in a nice package and tells you the difference between if you trigger it now, trigger it later. Like Matt said, we saved someone $80,000.
All right, so let me understand this, because I know you've given away, first of all, this guide is a real handy tool for people to learn everything that there is to know about Social Security. So we have this available for free, folks. So there's not much in life you get for free. You call up 508-591-5070 and you can get this guide for free. But then is the maximization, because you talk about this software, it sounds like it's something you have to physically manually do, enter the information in there. Kind of complicated. Do you do that for your clients? Who gets that privilege?
Yeah, we work with our clients, people that call in and ask for the assistance. It's not complicated. We just need a few numbers and then we go from there and help them. What we really try to do is focus on income planning, like Matt said earlier. And what we do is try to find out pension, Social Security, and then mind that gap.
And Matt, yeah, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, because Social Security, it's the base. It's the base of your income planning. I mean, here is something that you're never going to outlive. So you want to secure that base as much as possible, and then you layer on other income streams on top of it. But you want to maximize the base. The stronger the foundation is to your income plan, the better your retirement is.
I think if people get the one message from tonight's show is that there's many options and there's a lot of things to choose from, and you don't know what you don't know. Because I think a lot of people at home are thinking, look, I turned 62 or 63 and I take an option there, and little do they know it goes a lot deeper than that.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, sometimes we'll talk about Medicare. Medicare is 65, that's it. That's all you need to know.
Yep.
When do I get Medicare? 65. Social Security is so much more complex.
All right, so SHP Financial, their website is shpfinancial.com. They're giving away a great book, the Social Security Decisions Booklet. What, when, who, how. I know when we announced this on the radio, it was though we had, a million people giving away free puppies.
We're giving away, in a way, we are giving away money.
Free puppies right there by calling that number. I mean, people were out of their minds to get this in their hands. So I know this is something that you want to take advantage of, and if you get the opportunity, get one of these. Keep it in your important documents, because if you need to refer for questions, people ask us Social Security questions all the time on the show, a lot of time on your practice, so I think it's good to have, right?
Absolutely, and as Keith's mentioning, that Social Security Maximizer is pretty easy in a sense. You plug in a couple numbers and voila, you can see all of those different options in front of you.
Well, I want to thank Keith Ellis from SHP Financial, Matthew Peck from SHP Financial. You can visit them at shpfinancial.com. We welcome you to come back, join us each and every Sunday here on WBIN at 6 p.m. And as always, you can join us on the radio airwaves every Saturday night at 9 p.m. on WBZ 1030 a.m. And then you can get us all over the New England area on WCRN Worcester, 95.1 WXTK on the Cape, and as well on WPLM AM, WBNW, and WESO. So much is going on. I want to welcome you all to join us again next week here on the Money Matters Boston TV show. Have a good one, everybody, and we'll see you soon.